There is a plant in the Western Amazon that made my jaws drop when I learned about it. It's closely related to yerba mate, sharing some traits, but being also very different and completely unique. Indigenous people have been using its leaves for centuries to prepare an energizing infusion and attribute a ton of health benefits to it, most of which just turn out to be very real. It has twice the caffeine of coffee beans, but still it is considered the smoothest form of caffeine in nature. Yet only a few people know about its existence. This is guayusa, the secret superfood of the Amazon. Starting to spread worldwide just in the past few years, you will be one of the first people to discover it and maybe incorporate it into your life. So now let me tell you the most interesting facts and fictions about guayusa and what you need to know to be able to gain its amazing benefits. Let's start with the plant itself. Guayusa is an evergreen tree that can reach up to 30 meters in height. While it's also native to Peru and Colombia, its primary habitat is in Ecuador, a country better known for the Galapagos Islands and famous volcanoes, but which also holds a large portion of the Amazon rainforest, covering almost half of its territory. This is where guayusa is mostly found, especially around the Rio Napo and the Rio Pastaza. They are located here actually, just the editor couldn't resist to include his own drone footage of them in the video. Anyway, the scientific name of the plant is Ilex guayusa, which means it belongs to the same genus as yerba mate, Ilex paraguayensis. Putting this into view, we are part of the Homo genus, and we don't have such close relative, most likely because we have successfully exterminated all of them. We definitely have a next level culture. Speaking of the Ilex genus, you surely know one of its members. Holly, yes, the classic Christmas decoration that Tolkien thought deserved way too much plot time. Due to being closely related, drinks made from yerba mate and guayusa have a lot in common. Nearly identical active compounds, similar health effects, or the key role in community rituals. Speaking of community rituals, let's look at how guayusa became such an important part in the indigenous culture, instead of being just one of the 10,000 random species of trees in the area that look totally identical. The short answer, we have no idea. Just like with almost everything else about that big green spot on the map called the Amazon rainforest. What we do know is that guayusa was already in use at least 1600 years ago, the age of the oldest archaeological traces we have found. So, if the Roman Empire had picked South America over Central Asia for establishing their trade network, they might have ended up with the ultimate world-conquering energy drink instead of bubonic plague. Back to guayusa. Since it is found almost exclusively on cultivated land and has difficulties reproducing in the wild, there is a strong suggestion that it was domesticated to some extent, which means its discovery dates back far longer than just 1600 years. Nowadays, it is used by multiple indigenous peoples. One of them is the Quechua culture, which is present worldwide in sports stores and also in the Andean and Amazonian regions of the northwest part of the South American continent. Quechua people, a group of Quechuas, one of the biggest users of guayusa, have an extraordinary form of agriculture called chacras. A chacra is a sophisticated garden-like plantation that contains up to 150 plant species, mimicking the natural diversity of the rainforest. It creates a complex and resilient artificial ecosystem, basically an advanced form of permaculture, like what we try to develop to sustain humans during space travel. This definitely proves that the Quechua people have encountered extraterrestrial visitors in the past. They grow just about everything in the chakra. Crops like corn and cassava, fruits, herbs, medicinal plants, natural dyes, plants used for making tools, and of course, guayusa. Guayusa plays an important role in the lives of the Quechua. They consider it a sacred plant and use it in a daily ritual at dawn, preparing and drinking it together to give them energy throughout the day. Hunters also take guayusa with them to stay energized while out in the forest. Also, they attribute to guayusa a bunch of medicinal properties. They use it as a cure against a wide range of problems like digestive issues, venereal diseases, colds, or even fertility issues. Also, they use it before the famous ayahuasca ritual as a purgative. In case you don't know, ayahuasca is the infusion of two plants, and contains a potent hallucinogenic compound, the same substance that is probably responsible for the near-death experience in the human body. It highly increases brain activity and new connections between distant brain areas, resulting in visions, or in the case of near-death experience, the life flashing before your eyes phenomenon. Ayahuasca is super interesting, so if you would like a dedicated video about it, let me know in the comments. So now, let's see in what ways will guayusa skyrocket your health. Let's start with perhaps the most famous one, the high caffeine content. In fact, dried guayusa leaves contain twice as much caffeine as coffee beans and 3 times as much as yerba mate leaves, making guayusa the 4th most caffeine-dense plant we know of. After guarana, the plant commonly used in energy drinks, its North American relative, the yaupon holly, and cola nuts, of which cola drinks are made. You would never guess that guayusa is still often called the smoothest caffeine in nature. That is possible due to a host of other molecules, like certain amino acids found in it, which dramatically slow down the absorption of caffeine from the bloodstream, resulting in a gentle, long-lasting boost without shakiness, headache, or the classic feeling of caffeine crash after the effect wears off. It is considered even smoother than yerba mate, mostly because of the slightly different composition of molecules and different preparation methods. I would not recommend you to prepare guayusa like yerba mate, because that 3 times as much caffeine will make it feel more like liquid heart attack. But more about guayusa preparation in the video you see in the top right corner. Beyond caffeine, guayusa contains a wealth of other beneficial compounds that make it an effective antioxidant, anti-diabetic and anti-inflammatory superfood. Basically, guayusa shares almost all medicinal properties of yerba mate, but comes with a much milder, more beginner-friendly flavor, often described as naturally sweet and mellow, lacking any bitterness that scares off many people when they first try yerba mate. This all sounds amazing, and I would not be surprised if you were already convinced to give it a try. But depending on where you live, I have some bad news for you. Although Ecuador has been trying to promote guayusa internationally over the past 15 years, there is still no real global market for it. While there are a few companies, the largest being Runa LLC, which operates in the US, they only sell it in loose leaf or tea bag formats, rather than the traditional whole leaf. And even then, it costs 4 or 5 times as much as yerba mate. But if you still want to try it, I put some links into the description. Those products will give you a good glimpse of the guayusa tradition and all the benefits. I honestly think that guayusa deserves to be much more than just a local secret. Share this video with a tea or coffee-loving friend of yours, so that maybe we can help this Amazonian superfood conquer the world and be much more accessible. If you enjoyed the video, hit that subscribe button. And if you've been lucky enough to give guayusa a try, let me know in the comments how you liked it. Thanks for watching, and see you in a different Mateverse.